Hello everyone, Rachel from Eva and Alma. Today I'm having a Soul2Soul chat with a very good friend of mine, Katie Costello. Not only is Katie a very good friend of mine, she's also a professional contact. So both of us are soul midwives, like think of end-of-life therapists, death doulas, that's what a soul midwife is. And also Katie's a life coach. And we are very similar minded, and we just wanted to have a little chat about something today. We are both what we like to call ourselves strong women. I think that's why we get on so well. I think there's a myth that strong women clash. Healed strong women don't clash at all. Like, we get on so well, and I love strong women. So the reason why we're having a chat today is a couple of weeks ago I wrote a blog around social isolation and chronic loneliness, and it was really well received. I had so many beautiful messages. Honestly, it was so lovely, and it was so nice to, I know I'm loved. I didn't need the validation, but I'm not going to lie to you, my ego loved it, of course it did, and it was really nice to connect with some people. It goes without saying that other people have had it a lot worse than me, so my blog wasn't to be a worries me, my life is harder than everyone else's, because that's just not how I roll. But one thing that came out that I found interesting, and something that me and Katie speak about quite a lot, is whenever a strong woman, or anybody actually becomes vulnerable. But I think for some reason, when a strong woman puts themselves out there as vulnerable, there is almost like a bit of an, I don't want to say overreaction, because everybody that reacts is coming from a place of love, and we need more places of love. We need people to react with love more. So this isn't about ever holding back and not reaching out to people, but it's just to make something clear that when a strong woman is vulnerable, it doesn't automatically mean they have a mental illness. So it does not serve the mental health sort of movement, which is incredible, which is more people are aware of mental health and well-being. If somebody becomes vulnerable, whether that's they cry or they share something about how they're feeling and they're sharing difficult emotions, it's not your job to diagnose them with mental illness. It's not your job to automatically jump from, oh, they must be feeling sad, they must be depressed. Having depression is quite a clinical, awful thing to live with, and it wouldn't do anybody that lives with depression any justice or any service for when, like, say, for example, I share that I'm feeling sad, that someone tries to say I have depression or share me tips about how to cope with depression. I don't have depression, and I also know how hard it is to live with depression, and they are two different things. Feeling difficult emotions versus actually managing a mental health issue are two different things. We need to stop fearing difficult emotions. So this is what me and Katie are doing. We're just literally like two friends chatting. We're going to keep it brief, aren't we, Katie? Or should I say try?
Yeah, I was going to say I can't promise anything, but yeah, I'll try.
Yeah, we're going to try, because when me and Katie get on the phone, we just go, you got a quick 10 minutes, it could be an hour and a half later. And
I was going to say 2 hours later.
Yeah, we are pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I know me and Katie have been sharing some experiences over the past few weeks of this, and it's something we've spoken about for a while. So Katie, I know you've had some experiences in grief, and I have as well, but go over to you. Like, how do you feel about this?
Well, obviously, you know, like you said, we shared so many similar opinions, and I absolutely agree with everything you've said. And I think what's highlighted, particularly this year, this last whole year, with coronavirus and lifestyle changes and so much, every aspect of our lives have been affected, and we have all, men, women, all ages, all situations, we have all struggled in some way. But I think what's happened is, I think in some ways, I think society, communities have become so aware of mental health, which is amazing. We should be talking about depression, anxiety, struggles, fears. We should absolutely address all that. But I think what's also happened is, sadly, people are often worried or scared to share their negative or difficult emotions for fear of judgment, or for fear of labels, or for fear of people treating them differently or assuming things about them. People feel, I know I struggled more with feelings of anxiety in the last few months than I think I've ever done. Someone then tried to support me in that. Very well, they meant well, but it was then, I then felt them look at me and go, oh, Are you struggling with anxiety? And it came with love. But actually what I was doing, I was struggling with anxious feelings that I hadn't been used to. But straight away then I was treated differently because I opened up about my feelings, because I'm considered a strong woman, because people know that, and anybody that follows my page will know how much I talk. I'm very open, I'm very honest, I'm very real about my work as a soul midwife with the dying and everything that I experience. So people then, I think, assume that as a strong woman you should be or act a certain way. And I think we put as strong women, we have high opinion, no, not high, we have high expectations, I think, of ourselves, but because we've done the work, but because we know what we can do, we know what we're capable of, we know what we can achieve, and actually we know what we want to achieve as well. So the moment you maybe let your guard down, or the moment that you go, well, actually, I'm feeling something that I'm not quite sure about, or somebody else deems it to be difficult or negative, it changes people's, like I said, opinion or their manner with you. And what then also happens is that when people desperately need to speak up, they desperately need to say, I need help, they don't want to, because they think, well, I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to treat me differently. I don't want people to panic that I can't cope. And this is, I think the reason it resonated when we spoke about it so much was that in my work with the dying and the bereaved, people are scared to say to their loved ones or their friends, oh, I'm struggling today.
Yeah.
Because straight away people then go, oh, you're grieving, you can't cope, you should do this, you must do that, rather than just going, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah.
With no judgment, with no assumption about how they are, and allowing somebody that space just to talk about whatever it is that is important to them, not what you think or what your judgment is in that situation. If somebody opens up and says, oh, I'm struggling with this today, I'm not having a good day, don't throw those labels or those mental health assumptions. Just allow them that space to hear them. And I know it's just so important in the world of death and dying, whether it be the patient, the person that's dying that needs to say or express how they feel, or the people that have lost somebody or are losing somebody. The moment they admit or open up to their grief and how strong and powerful those feelings are and how they're really dealing with life, I think people get disempowered. People get told, well, you should do this, or what you must do is this, or, oh, do you know what you need to do? By doing that, I think we take away that person's power and control over their own feelings.
Yeah, we just need to allow people to just be with their feelings. You don't need to fix their feelings all the time. Feeling those feelings doesn't necessarily mean something awful is going on. They're just emotions and feelings. You can't feel pure joy without feeling deep sadness. It's part of being a human being. And I just find it really interesting. And like you, going through working with the dying as well, and with the bereaved, I remember a few years ago a client who had very, very sadly lost someone very close to them, and there were two family members. They were very close family, so there was three of them that were grieving. This client reached out to me because they were worried about the two other family members. One of them in particular, because this person, she was a girl, was crying a lot. And actually, because she was crying, that person believed that they were struggling, couldn't cope, and was going to do something awful to themselves, was going to go into a spiral. So I actually agreed to support this person that was crying, and I have never seen anyone deal with grief as healthy as this person was doing. This person was actually allowing themselves to grieve and heal. And then what happened with the other family member that this person wasn't as worried about, because they were quieter and they weren't crying as much, and they were very rational about it, ended up going on a drinking spiral because they weren't dealing with their grief. So actually, we need to allow people to grieve and cry and get it out. And I think people have this fear that actually difficult emotions is always this public dramatic display of tears and bringing everybody down. And it's not. Like, if you are healing, you can do it. You do it in private if you need to, or with someone close, or in therapy, as long as you're doing it.
And you do it in your own way.
Do it in your own way. As long as you're doing it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with grieving and crying and feeling sadness. It's when you feel long-term sadness and can't come out of that you need to start thinking about, well, do I need to speak to a doctor? Do I need to seek help? But simply having a couple of days of feeling, of crying, really isn't anything to worry about, and we need to allow people to do that, and we need to allow strong women to do that.
Yes.
Because strong women are put on a pedestal, that
Yeah.
they're not allowed to ever feel those difficult emotions.
Yeah.
And then when you see a little snippet of like, I'm having a bit of a sad day today, it's like
Yeah.
but you feel the people, they like the people die inside because you aren't allowed to have a day of feeling sadness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the key word you said a minute ago was healthy. I think no matter who you are, like you said, man or woman, to feel your emotions, to let them out, whether that be the crying and the wailing, or whether that be silence, or whether that be drawing or Netflix, or to do whatever it is that supports your emotion in that moment is healthy. And we need to allow people space to do that. And like, I do think as strong women, I think people assume that as strong women, we should be able to handle more. So then what I also think happens is that we get a lot of people's, I don't want to say baggage, we get a lot of people's energy thrown our way. We get things that may be said to us in anger, or people might make a flippant comment, but go, oh no, that's fine, Katie can handle that. Katie won't take offense.
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to take offense, if you've said something that's upset me, just because I'm a strong woman doesn't mean that you can say something to me that you wouldn't say to your Aunt Flossie, who might not be deemed or might not be the same kind of character as me.
Yeah.
And because I had that very recently as well, where someone challenged me on something, I responded with everything that I felt. Huh?
Dare they?
I know. No, but fair enough. They challenged me about something. Everybody has that right to open up a conversation. If this person felt something, they challenged me. I then had the right to respond, which I did. But then I was told, well, come on, you can handle it. You're a strong, resilient woman. Yes, I am. That does not give you the right to have a pop at me and then expect me to take it.
Yeah.
So, and this is nothing to do with arrogance or confrontation or anger. This is not about that. This is about healthy human interaction that allows people to have their individual thoughts and feelings, but allow whatever image you're deemed to have, or what character people think you are, you should not make that assumption that people should or shouldn't be a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think that in itself is really disempowering.
Oh, 100%.
So, and I can imagine people that it might take a bit more of somebody's inner strength to find that courage to speak up if they're struggling. So the worst thing we could ever do would be to disempower them, to not validate their feelings and to not hear them. Just because we might not understand the situation, we might guess or assume that they should be dealing with it a certain way because of what they might do or how they might be or how we might do things. And I think this is where we go really wrong as society. And I think it's just been absolutely hugely heightened and magnified because of this last year.
Yeah.
Everybody's feeling. And point when we were talking before about how actually people struggle to deal with other people's negative or difficult emotions. We're human. We don't always know what is best to do or not, but we seem to want to pat down people's negative feelings because it makes us feel uncomfortable rather than allowing them that space that we've talked about. But I think you're quite right. You said earlier, what's also happened with modern day society, as in modern day this last year, is that if people are struggling, they then also put down other people for being okay.
Yeah.
They're having a pop at other people who are actually happy and healthy in that moment, and they post a picture on Facebook of what a great day they've had.
Yeah.
And then we go, oh well, what do they know? They're obviously doing all right. They're not struggling.
Yeah, it's a sign that some healing needs to be done, because when you're projecting, so we talk about, it's okay to have emotions and feeling, we need to allow people to be in pain, we need to allow people to have difficult emotions, but we also need to know that what we're able to take and what we deal with. Strong women don't need to be everybody's projection board. In fact, projection isn't a healthy way of dealing with your emotions.
Yeah.
Projection is just literally passing those difficult emotions on. Which isn't kindness. You can still deal with difficult emotions and have kindness to deal with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our job, or anybody else's job for somebody that's supporting someone through a difficult day or a difficult week or for grief, is to just be there. We've forgotten how to be there. We've forgotten how to just be that loving light without wanting to fix, disempower, project, push, whatever. Just be. I know for myself personally, when my mental health suffered, it's coming up like 9 years ago now, because I've been through a lot of health trauma.
Mhm.
My life changed. I was grieving really hard for a life that I wasn't able to live anymore.
Mhm.
Obviously, my mental health, like, I struggled mentally and emotionally then because I was going through a big change. I cannot tell you the most powerful support I had was actually my husband, who taught me a lot, because he just used to sit with me.
Mhm.
He just sat with me. He didn't try to talk to me or fix me. I sensed his love. He would sit with me when I was feeling a bit sad because, you know, I wasn't able to do the career that I wanted to work in anymore, because I was
Mhm.
worried about my money and financial situation, because I couldn't go and play netball anymore, and I really miss my netball friends because I was isolated, because I couldn't socialise as much as I wanted to, and I was allowed to be sad, and he allowed me to be sad. He just sat there.
Yeah.
And he
Honestly,
taught me a lot, and that was so powerful. We've forgotten how to do it, haven't we, Katie? We've forgotten.
but we know, obviously, in our role as Soul Midwives, that's probably one of the biggest parts that we
Yeah.
play in people's death and dying journey, is to just sit with them. And it is hard for a loved one to sit with somebody that's dying, because they're obviously grieving already, you know, before that person's died. But actually, all they need is just that loving energy. And when we talk about holding space and things, that, you know, that's what we do at the bedside for people. But actually, that's what we should be doing in life,
Yeah.
holding space for people. And actually, if you're not in the emotional space to hold somebody else's space, or
Yeah.
to be with them in their energy, it's perfectly okay to go, do you know what, I can't be doing this today. Well, okay, you probably might put it nicer than that.
Yeah, I
say
was going to
that.
say, be a bit nice. Thanks, Katie.
It's okay to say, do you know what, I've got my stuff happening at the moment. I'm not the best person to support you right now.
Yeah.
It's
We've
okay
had
to
those
say
chats
no.
ourselves, haven't we?
Yeah,
We've had those
exactly.
chats ourselves as friends.
Yeah.
We are there for each other through thick and thin. Like, not that we need to be there, but I feel like we are there for each other.
Without a
But there
doubt.
have
Yeah.
been the odd days where it's like, do you know what? I want to hear you today, but I can't. Are you okay? Have you got somebody else to talk to? Because,
Yeah.
you know, we've had those chats and it's been really empowering for both of us.
Exactly. And I think, again, we've obviously got to know each other and we understand that about each other. I think, as particularly as women, I think it's really important that we understand ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think when we talk about strong women, what I don't want people to think is that we mean they have to be a certain way to be a strong woman. So I hope women are listening to this, understanding that actually a strong woman is just somebody that knows herself, that lives her truth.
Yeah.
No matter how extravagant and out there that might be, or how much quieter that might be. If it's your truth and you're aligned and you're in balance and you're full of love and you're trying your damnedest every single day, you are a strong woman.
Balanced. That's the key
Exactly.
word.
Yeah. So it's not about
Balanced.
getting it right all the time. It's not
No.
about being out there and on social media all the time. There's no expectation. It's about you being you in the best way that you know how.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to allow women the space to have their feelings.
Yeah.
I do think, again, women, and I know you feel this way quite strongly, that still in modern day, women are still seen as either being the lesser or weaker sex in some situations.
Unfortunately, yes. And I think COVID is actually
Yeah.
making that more
Women
evident.
being at home doing the majority of the homeschooling,
Yeah.
women's sectors, well, female or stereotypically female sectors of the industry, of businesses and stuff, that are still unable to work with the more male dominant industries are still able to work. You know, there are so many things, so many subtle things still going on in this day and age that still suggest that I don't think we have equality the way that we should do.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a whole other video.
Yeah. That's definitely.
Well, but the point being, I still think women are still judged for having a feeling. Oh, here we go. Do you know what? Even my son, right? And we know how amazing my son is. I posted
Oh,
about
he's
my son's
amazing.
amazing quotes. He's the most gorgeous little boy. He's 9 years old. But we were talking the other day about anger and expressing feelings. And even he said, but Mummy, he said, you might be hormonal. I mean, because I've told him about periods and hormones and how it affects.
Oh, I know you have. Yeah.
But I was very quick to then re-explain that situation.
Yeah.
But the reality is, so I need to work hard on kicking that out of him. But the reality is, women still get looked at like that.
Yeah.
Women would, oh, she's a bit emotional. Is it that time of the month?
Yeah.
Even if it was irrelevant. If you've upset me, I'm allowed to express that to you, and we can have this open conversation to clear the air. If you don't want to give me the space to allow my feelings or to listen or to understand, then you need to go and I need to heal that. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And let's be clear here when we talk about balance and feelings. If you are in a place of like projecting or having difficult feelings a lot, regularly, that is a massive sign that you have healing to do on yourself.
Yeah, and that might
So
be when you
just
maybe do
saying,
need support. Yeah.
yeah, and just saying, do you know what? Allow me to be angry, but you're angry every week for like weeks. It's like, come on, that's where you need to own yourself, because that isn't a healthy, healed, strong woman.
Yeah.
And you need to go on a journey to figure out why you're so angry and
And I
start
think,
to work to heal it, because you deserve
yeah,
peace and everybody around you deserves peace. Everybody deserves peace, not just
absolutely.
about women. Men need to learn to live
Everybody.
with peace as well. This is more than women.
And that's something that I know we've both done the work on, is that I'm aware now of maybe my triggers. So
Yeah,
either things in life that upset me or anger me. But the first thing I will do is, okay, why am I angered by that? Do
yeah,
I need to have this conversation with somebody?
yeah,
Is that something that I need to maybe let go? Do I need to work on what's going on? And it could be that I have a 5-minute chat with myself. It could be that it needs a bit more attention. It might just be a 2-second thing where I acknowledge it, I let it go, and I carry on.
yeah.
But this is the work that we all need to do as human beings.
All of us.
Women particularly, to enable us to step into that power and that truth and that balance and alignment. I think we have to own that and allow all this,
Yeah, because we've
allow
been
ourselves
stressed
the
for too
space.
long.
Yeah. Allow ourselves the space to heal and to have these conversations with ourselves, rather than going, oh well, I'll just let that go. Like you said, alternatively, if you think if you're finding anger in your life every day and everything's triggering you, that's a sign that there's some internal stuff going on. You need to work on that.
100%. Yeah,
And exactly the same if you're very much like, oh, I'll let that go, I'll let that go, I'll let that go.
yeah,
Okay, when do you stop letting everything go? When are your feelings acknowledged? Or
yeah.
when do you stop and go, actually, no, this is really upsetting me, and I keep letting it go? Because I went through a phase like that, and that annoyed myself. You let so many things go, and you pick your battles, and you let it go, let it go, let it go, and then you just think, actually, no, my needs aren't being met.
Yeah.
So I think, again, balance. It always comes down to balance.
Balance is key for
Yeah.
being a strong woman. And also, just to finish, because I know we need to finish in a moment,
Uh-huh.
when a strong woman is vulnerable, don't store it in the bank to use it as a weapon in the future. People's vulnerabilities are not your weapons. That will bite you on
Absolutely.
the booty.
Absolutely.
But that's another chat, isn't it? It's another chat.
Absolutely. Do you know, I heard, funny you say that, I heard exactly there's another life coach guy that I listen to called Matthew Hussey. He's just brilliant. He's English, but he does a lot of stuff in America and stuff. Anyway, he talked about not using your wound as a weapon.
Yeah.
So even for yourself, if you know that you have a wound as regards, I don't know, financial stuff, say money is a wound for you, the worst thing you can do then is somebody, if they're trying to support you or hold space or listen, is use that as a weapon against that person. But what do
Yeah.
you know? You've got lots of money. You
Yeah.
don't understand. All
Yeah.
you're doing is projecting your own insecurity onto somebody else.
Exactly.
So what you need to do is try and get to that balance of, I send you love. I'm so glad you've done well for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm so pleased to hear about A, B, C, D and whatever. And I want that. So how do I get that? How do I get myself in that situation? What do I need to do to feel that way? It's
When
not
you
trying to copy anybody. It's just trying to get yourself to that point of, I need to work on this because I want this for me. And I'm a strong woman and I deserve it.
Exactly. When you start to begrudge other people's happiness and success, whatever that may look like in whatever area of life, and someone shares some really good news with you, or some joy or their success, and your first reaction is, what do they know? They haven't had this, they haven't had that, they haven't had this, they haven't had that. You've got work to do on yourself.
Yeah. And
Because
it's
of people's
hard because
happiness. I mean, of course it's hard. It's a lot of work,
you're allowed
isn't
to
it?
think that. But if you really can't offer that person some kind of love or support,
Yeah.
like you said, that's the work that needs to be done. It's
Yeah.
okay to feel jealousy or these horrible feelings, but it's not okay to make other people suffer for your feelings of that.
Yeah.
If you're not happy in that situation, you need to try and change that situation and then address yourself and the emotions that have come up.
Yeah.
But then again, it's balanced at the same time. You don't want
Always
anybody,
balance.
yeah, because you don't then want to not express yourself for somebody going, you need to work on yourself. Do you know what I mean? So it is a real balance, knowing, and also knowing who you can go to for support.
Yeah, true. But I suppose we're telling people, if you're feeling this, go and work on yourself, you've got work to do. But I would never dream of having a conversation with somebody and them sharing a vulnerability or an angry thought and me just looking at them going, you've got work to do on yourself, because that's not love either.
No, but that's where we go back to the holding space, allowing emotions.
Yeah.
We are the kind of people that somebody comes to us and says, I'm struggling. We want to allow that space. We will sit with them and go through it. And again, particularly with my work as a life coach as well, if they want that more in-depth support, I can help them. But it's not about me telling them what they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's about me supporting them to work on that inner strength, that inner peace, which is obviously then when your work comes in, and then I can help them figure out how they get there themselves if they have goals. And that, you know, so it's, people need to seek the right support as well, I think, is really key. Finding the right people that are going to work for them. And just
some people need kicks up the booties, because they need to kick up the booty.
Well, we all do, I think, at times, don't we? I think we all need a kick up the bum.
I don't know.
Oh, I do. No, I accept that.
I think that part of you, to be fair. But then some people just need, because they kick themselves up the booty, they need
to, I also do,
to guide. Well, you all sound quite balanced to me, love. That sounds
but I hope so. But also, it's a definite kind of practice. I think you don't get to the point where you go, right, I'm balanced, that's it, I'm done, I'm the Dalai Lama. It doesn't also work like that either. We're still human.
Yeah, and we evolve and change, and our life changes, and lemons smack us in the face, and then things happen.
Exactly, and situations in life, and it might be that, you know, you're fully aligned and balanced and feeling all Dalai Lama-esque at 9 o'clock in the morning, but everything's gone wrong by 2 o'clock, and you're feeling human, you're drinking wine and watching Netflix. I mean, but that, again, balance. It's okay for life to change, and it's okay to be like this, because life is. And like we always say about, you know, we live a very spiritual path. That's our faith. That's kind of our inner being. This is how we see the world. But we still have to allow that space to be human, because we are.
Oh, yeah. That's what I teach. That's what I teach completely. It's about being cosmic and spiritual, if that's who you are, and working to quieten the mind and remove the ego and all that stuff. Actually, that's not actually real life. We're here to have a human experience. And human experiences create difficult emotions, joyous emotions. You know, it's about being grounded. It's literally, I call it, like, you know, my logo is like the pyramid. Yeah, it's very grounded and stable, yet head in the clouds, balanced. That's really important, and that's what creates peace, and that's what creates powerful women and strong women. And even strong, powerful women who are on the path to inner peace and are really peaceful still need to be allowed to be vulnerable, because it's part of our human condition. So I am gonna cut us off there, because look, we've only gone 4 minutes over. I'm so proud of us.
It could have been a lot worse.
So proud of us, Katie. Thank you for joining. We'll have to do another one.
Oh God, there's so many things other than this that I think we could have gone off on tangents for, that I think are really valuable conversations, that I know particularly, obviously, people that you work with, and the way that you work, I think this is really valuable.
Cool. Thank you for joining me.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Soul Chats.
Love it. Thank you very much.
Lots of love.
See you later.